Do you find yourself in fear of workplace technology? If so, don't despair. Hi, I'm Mark from ValorExcel, and today I'd like to share some insights with you that I think can really help you have a different mindset when it comes to learning and using technology in the workplace. Now, you know the old adage, the only sure things in life are death and taxes? Well, I would add something else to that list, and that is learning new technology, because none of us can escape it. Technology is always flinging itself at us, demanding our attention, and technology is frustrating because it's not static, it's dynamic, it's ever changing. And just when you think you've mastered a particular technology, lo and behold, along comes the latest iteration of it. And guess what? You get to do it all over again. Oh, yippee. Now, that doesn't have to be overwhelming, but the truth is, for some people, it is a really daunting task to become adept at using technology. And sometimes people talk themselves out of even trying because of the fear and the intimidation. So if that sounds like you, I hope what I share with you today can give you a fresh perspective. Because we all had to have a fresh perspective in 2020 when, at the outset of the pandemic, businesses everywhere were suddenly confronted with making a choice. You could only do one of two things. You could adapt to new methods of doing business, or you could try to do things the way you always did. Now, because of the fact that people could no longer meet or interact with clients or customers in person, it was a season of doing things remotely. And so some businesses were adaptive, and they decided they would embrace the new technology that was necessary to keep their business going. So they investigated things like cloud-based collaboration and video meetings, and that opened up not only the ability to continue doing business, but new areas they may never have explored before. The byproduct of all of that was that they now had an opportunity to do things that they never would have dreamed of even a year earlier, because they were forced into a situation where they had to start using technology to solve their problems. But other businesses may have said, you know what, I can't deal with this. We'll just keep going along as we always have. That probably didn't work out too well for them. And a little bit later on, I'll touch on that again, because there is always a consequence to stepping back and not really dealing with technology. Today, I'd like to share with you 5 things to keep in mind if you are someone who has that struggle of dealing with technology in the workplace. So here are things to keep in mind, and I hope you find these encouraging and inspirational, because that really is the goal of today's message. Number 1, everyone has to learn technology. Now, especially if you're a little bit older, you may operate under the assumption that everybody in the world under the age of 30 just intuitively, automatically understands any technology like that. Let me let you in on a little secret. It's not true. The fact is, everybody has to learn technology. There is a learning curve waiting for all of us, and we all learn differently at different paces and in different ways. Now, it is true that younger generations are usually exposed to more technology during their formative years, so they do already have an existing knowledge base. But if you don't have one, don't let that negate you trying to learn. You can do it. It really is a matter of mindset. Don't talk yourself out of it thinking it's too hard or I could never do that. Of course you could do that. You've learned to do other complex things in your life, and approaching office technology is no different. Truth be told, it may not happen quickly, and it may require additional effort, but it is something that you can do. Don't give up, keep pressing in, and perseverance will pay off. Number 2, there's no shame in not understanding how a certain technology works. Now, this ties very much in with number 1. I always feel bad when I see a workplace setting where there's some conversation taking place about technology, and you see someone who obviously does not feel like they're part of the conversation. I really want to encourage you, never feel ashamed if you don't understand what is being discussed. The bottom line is, you don't know what you don't know. You can learn, but just because you don't know right now doesn't make you less than. And I really feel like this is a big one because I think sometimes people drag a lot of emotional baggage with them when they're trying to approach technology, and you'll never be able to learn that way. You're putting unnecessary pressure on yourself. You want to come into a technological setting with as much calm and as much focus as you possibly can muster. So don't get keyed up. Don't put that extra pressure on yourself to perform. Give yourself a chance to digest what's being talked about and to learn. And hopefully, the company that you work for is one where you have coworkers who will assist you. If you have a good, strong, positive team environment, everybody will work together because it's in everyone's best interest to help all team members to really understand and use technology in a way that benefits the entire group. Number 3, avoiding technology out of fear or stubbornness causes further issues. We touched on this in the introduction when I talked about how during the pandemic, there were some businesses that simply refused to embrace new technology. Maybe they were afraid. They had done things possibly for decades a certain way. They didn't believe that they had the ability to learn a different way. And so they said, you know what, we're not going to change. Or maybe it was just stubbornness, refusing to adapt to something that everyone else was doing when it wasn't something they personally wanted to do. Regardless of which mindset, I don't think either one of them paid off for them. And probably for a lot of those businesses, as the pandemic continued, they saw their own clients and customers going elsewhere because they were no longer able to serve the people that they used to. And so other more enterprising businesses who were embracing technology and finding better ways to do things were now an attractive alternative. And so as a result, they possibly did lose much of their business. I really do encourage you, always understand that there will be some negative aspect to shying away from technology. It doesn't have to be simply a company-wide scenario. It can occur on an individual basis. If there's some new technology being brought into your job function and you balk at it, you're not doing yourself any favors. Even if you've had stellar performance up until now, refusing to learn that technology won't help you to continue to do your job and will probably put you into a less than favorable light with your supervisor. Number 4, technology should never become the main focus of your organization. Unless you're a tech company, don't fixate on tech. The bottom line is technology is nothing more nor less than a tool. That's all it is. Remember that and keep that in your framework as you're approaching whatever you do in your organization. The bottom line is your organization exists because at least one person had an idea for a mission that they wanted to fulfill. So focus on that. Focus on the mission of your organization and not the technology. If you become so fixated on tech that you stop paying attention to everything else that you need to do, it will destroy your organization. You'll get caught in a swirling vortex. Gradually, people's opinions about the company will start to sour. People will lose their enthusiasm for being at work. They'll lose focus on doing their individual job functions, and soon the entire company will suffer. You always need to remember why you were there in the first place. Technology wasn't the reason. Technology was simply something to help you fulfill that mission, do your job better, and move your organization forward. And number 5, there are free resources available to help you learn what you need to know. We do live in an amazing age. We have so many digital resources at our fingertips, and most of them are completely free. Look at YouTube itself. You can learn how to do almost anything on YouTube. On our ValorExcel channel, we try to bring tutorials to you to give you insight into different components of doing business in a smart way. So avail yourself to these incredible free resources. There are so many different areas you can go to glean expertise from a variety of viewpoints. So never feel like learning technology has to be something that requires you to take a college course or invest large amounts of money. It's just a matter of taking the time to sit down, experiment, explore a little bit, and you're bound to find at least one good instructor who can show you what you need to know. Now, maybe you are the person in your organization who's actually responsible for bringing technology in, and that can be scary in and of itself. If you're the one who controls the purse strings for actually obtaining new workplace tech, you want to be prudent about it. You certainly don't want to create a situation where you invest the company's finances in something that winds up being a dead end. So I really do encourage you carefully research anything before you invest in it. And in addition to doing independent research, talk to other people, talk to other colleagues in various organizations and businesses to see whether or not they are using whatever technology you're looking at, or whether or not they can suggest an alternative. That way you can glean the experience of somebody who may have already field tested it. You can be in a much better position to make a determination about investing in something if you really have an understanding of how it plays out in the real world. So do as much research as you can and get as much insight as possible. Another important thing to remember is that sometimes you don't even need to financially invest in new technology. Today, there are literally thousands of freeware applications out there covering a myriad of business functions. I really encourage you to investigate, and you'll find some incredible things. The great thing about these free options is that they're completely legal, and in many cases, they're backed by a thriving and robust user community where everybody contributes, everybody is there to answer questions and help others. And many of these freewares are open source, meaning that people can make modifications and improvements to them, so you're not stuck with one static model. It's definitely worth checking out. One amazing example is LibreOffice, which is actually a freeware alternative to Microsoft Office. It has very similar functionality, and you can even save documents in the same file extensions that you can with Microsoft Office. I'll also include links in the description below this video for several other videos that we've done on ValorExcel, in which we did tutorials on various freeware that is worth checking out for your small business or nonprofit. At the end of the day, technology is something that we can't get away from, but we need to be very measured and prudent in how we approach it. Just remember, technology isn't in charge, you are. So if you're someone who has tended to shy away from technology, I want to encourage you, please don't. There's nothing to be afraid of. If you're willing to put the time and effort in, you automatically will gain success because you will grow and develop both personally and professionally. Remember, talk to others, get all the resource information that you can, do things at a pace which is logical and helpful for you and for your company, and you will succeed. I really appreciate you joining me today. At ValorExcel, we try to get you to think about how you're doing things so that maybe you can do things in a different and better way. I'd like to offer a free resource that can help challenge you to really look at your entire organization and how you're doing things today. If you click on the link in the description below the video, you can download a free PDF called Taking Your Organization's Temperature. It's a real eye-opener as to the trajectory you are on at the organizational level. If today's video was helpful for you, please give us a like. And in the comments below, let me know, what are your experiences with technology? Have you faced various challenges trying to bring new technology into your company, or maybe to involve your team members in utilizing it? I'd also like to invite you to subscribe to ValorExcel. We generate new content on a regular basis, and all of it is specifically geared toward helping small businesses and nonprofits to truly thrive. Thanks again for joining me today. I invite you to come back for the next installment. Remember, at ValorExcel, we're committed to helping you do smart work. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.